This is a kind of behind the scenes story of Blue Note reissues here in Japan, which I think I have not talked about. Hi, this is Takashi Nora from Jazz Blues Japan. Yeah, as I said, um, you know, I already talked about many stories about Blue Note reissues here in Japan. Most of you guys know that, but the topic that I'm going to feature today, I think, is left out. Uh, I don't think I have talked about it. Okay, I'll show you the Blue Note reissues, the titles, which are these. Okay, I don't know how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5 albums. Yeah, like this one. Yes, BLP 1540. By the way, all of these titles are BLP 1500 series. This is the Kenny Burrell Blue Lights Volume 1. Yeah, Volume 1. And Volume 2. Yes. And yeah, Lou Donaldson takes off. Blue takes off, I mean, Blue Swap, Lou Donaldson. And as I said, all of these titles are very popular. And also, all of these are BLP 1500 series. And as I said, of course, they are obvious. So these are the reissues by the Japanese company Toshiba EMI, and all of these reissues were manufactured in the early 90s, relatively the late reissues, not like LNJ in the mid 70s or BNJ in the mid 80s, but the early 90s. And what I feel and think unique and interesting is that the series that they manufactured with these titles is called BLP 1500 series, and Toshiba EMI, they used the original master tape from the US at that time, mono master. Yeah, mono master. So all of these titles are mono. And before that, even the Toshiba EMI or King Record, I don't think they were able to acquire the original mono master, but the second, third generation copy of the stereo master, even if it is BLP 1500 series, most of the titles they reissued are stereo. Yeah, of course, if there is no stereo version, like the 50s recordings, the early 50s recordings or the mid 50s recordings, yeah, of course, in mono was only available. But most of the time, 1500 series, they use the stereo master, not the original stereo master, of course, second, third, or fourth generation copy. But with these titles that I showed you right now, they used the original mono master at that time, and then they cut it and pressed it here in Japan. And uniquely, if you look at the timing that they manufactured these great titles, it's not the record analog record era, the CD era. CD was selling great, but the analog records were not selling good. And I already talked about this in a story that in the early 90s, Toshiba EMI and the rest of the big companies here in Japan, they stopped manufacturing, pressing the analog records by themselves, but they started, using the other companies to press their vinyl records. That's what they did with these, great titles. And the company that they used at that time is called Toyo Kasei. I already talked about the Toyo Kasei. Toyo Kasei is a great company that has a history over 50 years, half a century, over half a century, making the analog records here in Japan. And for many years, from the early 90s up to, I think, 2008 2018, Toyo Kasei was the only company, I mean the pressing company, present here in Japan. Not any other company present here in Japan, but Toyo Kasei alone was pressing the great high quality analog records all of those years until now. Really, they are doing that business for many years, and their quality, the pressing quality, they also cut the of course they don't produce the lacquer. The lacquer was produced, manufactured by another company, public record in Nagano Prefecture. I already talked about that story too. But with using the lacquer, they also cut, they have a facility to cut the lacquer and also press, of course. The cutting and the pressing were done by the Toyo Kasei, not Toshiba EMI. So the pressing quality with this series, and also the sleeve quality and the sound quality, everything is great. And not many jazz collectors know this fact. Yes. I think I prefer the sound quality of this series, because all of these are mono, than the they in the early 90s and also the late 80s, Toshiba EMI produced and manufactured many Blue Note titles with the BST series and BLP series. But at that time they manufactured all of those copies by themselves. But with these copies were done, the manufacturing, pressing, and the cutting was done by the Toyo Kasei, and the sound quality and also pressing quality improved really. Yeah. So that's what I observed. I don't know whether you know about this fact. Yeah, it's better for you to look into it. Yes. I think at that time they reissued how many titles? Let me check. I think 20 or 21 titles at that time. Yeah. And they all used the mono master. Yeah. That's very, I think the first approach that the Japanese company did. The US company, of course, that's common, but with the Japanese company like Toshiba EMI or the King Record, I think for the first time they used the original mono master. Yeah. But before that, stereo, or even if it is a mono master, it's not the original mono master. Second, third, or fourth generation copy of the master, the original master. That's what they did. Whether they like it or not, I don't know, because of the licensing issue, I don't know. But they are only able to acquire that kind of thing. Yeah, mediocre master only. But with this particular series, BLP 1500 series by the Toshiba EMI, all of these copies, they use the original mono master. Yeah, for the first time here in Japan. Later years, of course, they premium reissues done by the Disc Union and the Universal Music Japan. Yeah, of course, they were able to acquire the mono master, the original one. Yeah, but around that time, 70s, 80s, up to the 90s, I don't know. Japanese companies were not able to acquire the original tape. That's the fact. Yeah. So I think these reissues by Toshiba EMI in the early 90s are great, and not many jazz collectors know about this fact. So I think on the market right now you can get some of the titles much easily, yeah, than the rest of the Blue Note reissues here in Japan. So in case you find it on the market, one title or some other titles, I think it's better for you to get it. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you like it. Lastly, I always keep praying, wishing you guys, family members, everybody to be safe. Please continue staying safe, really. And thanks for watching today, and I'll see you. next time. Bye bye.